because Mark is not with us, so I'm going to start with the announcements this morning. So, last week we began, every Wednesday, we are going to be meditating here at NBOC. I think Judy's going to do a little half-hour stretch in yoga if you want to come at 11, and then we'll begin meditating at 11:30 here. We had an awesome meditation. Everybody's welcome. Not Thursday, Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning. 11 is the yoga for half hour, and then 11:30 we are doing a meditation together. And next Sunday is going to be our first potluck in our new place. We have been trying to figure out how to do it, and we think we've got it so we don't mess up the carpet and everything. So next week, if you will, we'll put it online too. If you'll bring a dish that you love and enough to share with everybody else, it's always so much fun because we can stay around and talk and visit. So that's the 19th. That's next Sunday. And then Miles is taking a little hiatus until January, we hope, and his classes have been life-changing, just so many things and tools to put into our life and how to do them. And I was telling him this morning, I love to hear what he and Reba do every morning. And he said sometimes they do their practice for 4 or 5 hours, he was saying. So I know that they are really such an example of how the new earth relationships are really meant to be. And in January, we also have a new class, Carol Dennis. How many of you know she's a reader, Carol Dennis? She's going to start a metaphysical meetup on the first Sunday of every month after our potluck. And Carol's been a psychic for over 40 years, and what she's going to really do is kind of share some of that with you, but at the meetup you can also practice on each other. There's going to be a lot of different things to really, we're all clairvoyant. We're all intuitive. We all have those gifts. We just need to practice. You know, it even says in the Bible that the gifts that were in Timothy that were stirred up when his grandmother laid hands on him. So what we do, we stir those gifts up within all of us because they're there. So she's going to begin that. And then I am going to do probably, at the end of January, I am going to start a class on the Emerald Tablets and the Anunnaki. Where'd you come from? Why do we have different types of blood? You know, what's the Garden of Eden really all about in the Bible? And all of the Tao Te Ching, what is the really basic message? And I think the Emerald Tablets are the origin of the Bible. The Tao Te Ching, all of the ancient texts, you know, it comes from Hermetics. You know, and that was Hermes Tristus, which said he came back 3 times, but then he came back hundreds of times. All about the pyramids and interacts, all of that. So anyway, I've been studying that a couple years, and I think I'm going to put a class together in January for that. So I think that's everything. So next week we'll have our potluck, and right now we're going to do, I think, some ohms, and then we will have some music. Okay.
Play, Mark. Play.
I think I'm ready, Pierre. So, the title of today's talk is, What's Happening? So, when we leave this planet and transition into non-physical, we're welcomed into non-physical as a hero. Everyone. We're welcomed into non-physical as a hero. So, everyone? I mean, am I awake in this reality? Are there people that aren't welcomed into non-physical as a hero? And that's the reason for the talk today. It's like Nancy said, it's unconditional. It's unconditional. So, I'm going to go over why everyone is welcomed as a hero. This is a reality that's a complete illusion. So what is real is in non-physical, that I call framework 2, and it's our eternal energy, our essence. Our reality is just a cascade of pictures, like a waterfall or a movie, of that energy of us on the inside. And that energy of everything, every tree, every plant, every leaf, every rock. So we give meaning to these pictures, and the only meaning the pictures have is the meaning we give them. The meaning we give them is based on our beliefs. We can change our beliefs any time if we choose. All that is, in her infinite brilliance, constructed this world such that no one gets hurt while we all get the benefit of profoundly deep emotional experiences that dramatically expand both ourselves and the universe. So how is that? We all exist in our own bubble. And whatever's in our bubble is a reflection, an exact reflection of us. And this bubble is recreated millions of times a second. Really, it's countless times a second because the number is far too large to be comprehensible. And each time it's created completely new, from the 0 point. And this fact alone makes our lives a complete fiction. In other words, all made up. Everything in our lives is all that is infinite. Everything in our life is here because it loves us unconditionally and has agreed to follow our script. And furthermore, no one can play a bad role in our lives or the world without first playing an equally good role at some other point in their existence. First, they are a saint. Then, they are the devil. It would be too unbalancing to play the bad role first. Or said another way, how could they live with themselves unless they knew how wonderful they were? We owe a big debt of appreciation to all those in our lives and in our world for agreeing to play the really crappy roles we've given them in our bubble. And why would they agree to play those roles? Well, it's simple. So we can know ourselves. That's it. The short and the sweet of it. So we can know ourselves. And what we are seeing are the things we refuse to accept or believe about ourselves, so they have to be projected into physical reality to get our attention. A little bit here about our planet. Our planet is unique in many, many ways. It's the only planet I know where we are completely cut off from all that is at birth. Then on top of that, we've been given 100% free will. And I don't believe there's another planet, at least in our part of the universe, much less the 100 billion stars in our galaxy, that has 100% free will. The next highest amount is 10%. And I'm thinking that's only the case because they're transitioning between 4th and 5th density, and when they get to 5th density, there is no free will at all, with respect to love. So, why does the rest of the creation have no free will? Simple. What is the point of free will when everything is love, and love is the answer to every question? So at least with respect to love, there is a complete alignment in our lives as we go into 4th density and then into 5th density. When you're love-centered, as you can well imagine, everything changes completely. You love yourself and everyone else, and every decision you make is based on love. So there are no secrets. Everyone and everything, it becomes telepathic, and you no longer have to live in a bubble. And we'll just go, etc., etc. Just think of the ramifications of that. You fill in the rest of the blanks. And on top of that, we have 100% range of imagination and the widest range of emotion in the universe. And since we're cut off from our all that isness, at least until we make a decision otherwise, we feel unsafe. And we are set up to go crazy with this power, creating negative things using free will as we choose to stay focused on a negative, something negative. and then throwing gas on the fire by using this incredibly powerful tool of our imagination, not to mention ramping up with emotions. And pretty soon we're deep in the pit of depression and despondency. And this is the planet that we chose to come to. That we decided to come here at this time to the pain planet makes us the rock stars of the universe. Everybody in the rest of the galaxy watches us all the time. We're like their favorite TV series. Which is why the bar is so high to get into the earth. You have to be a very advanced soul, though I admit, to look at people's actions, it's often impossible to tell they are so advanced. But they are, and they will eventually come around to awakening and realizing the magnificence of who they are. Back to heroes. Everyone that elects to come here in the first place is a hero. And second, that they have taken on the additional burden of playing a bad role for us, if anything, makes them even a bigger hero. So everyone that transitions to non-physical is welcome back as a hero. But why would anyone decide to come to the pain planet? Well, because we ourselves and the rest of the universe is learning so much from our wild adventure. And it is that, isn't it? The greater the contrast, the greater the expansion. Not only of the universe, but of ourselves. And we have massively created and continue to create the expansion of the universe every instant of our existence in third density. And the rest of the universe is watching spellbound. They're literally dumbstruck at our achievements, the greatest of which we are in the middle of accomplishing, which is our transition to fourth density, which no one expected, considering that we're just 70 years away from a complete global conflagration of World War II, and that came right on the heels just 20 years after World War I. This is a staggering accomplishment for which many of you light workers here today are responsible. So kudos to you and all of us. So how do we navigate this painful experience that we put ourselves in that we also know as a paradise? Love and appreciation. Love everything. Everything is a perfect reflection of who we are in any moment. A huge gift, because we never have to wonder where we are in our evolution, our awakening, our remembering. All we have to do is look at the dream, the illusion we call our lives. That tells us everything we need to know. So, love everything. Appreciate everything, starting with yourself. Start appreciating yourself every day, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. I mean that quite seriously. If we would just do this one little thing, we would find ourselves in a paradise, in a perfect world in short order. When we love and appreciate the world loves and appreciates us back. It has no choice by the law of attraction. Whatever vibration we put out, we get back. So love and appreciation. I can hear you going, check, check, like you did when you were talking to your committee before you decided to come here. And they were going, that's too much. You're picking too much. It's not reasonable to choose all these challenges at once in the most challenging environment in the universe to begin with. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
They repeated this is too much, and you replied, well, it's my choice and this is what I choose. And the committee just shook its head and sent you on your way with infinite love and goodwill because it is our choice. What else, Miles? What else can we do? You know, the regular, affirm your godhood, your all that isness, be spontaneous, embrace your multidimensionality, and own that we create our own reality, 100% of our reality. So, in the morning, when Reba and I are doing our practices, we constantly start with that every day. And we do that at least until we think about a quote from A Course in Miracles, which says, "The only thing missing in any situation is that which you are not giving." Thank you, Marianne Williamson, for making us so humble. But I'm not sure this is powerful enough, so let me say it another way. The only thing missing from any relationship is what we're not giving. Yikes. And of course, that's very upsetting. Byron Katie put it another way. As long as you can think that the cause of your problem is quote unquote out there, as long as you think that anything or anyone is responsible for your suffering, the situation is hopeless. It means that you are forever in the role of the victim and that you are suffering in paradise. So, I don't know about you, but Reba and I find this positively stomach-churning, upsetting, that we are the cause of whatever the deficiency is in our relationships, in our situation, and that the good news is all we have to do is create it. Yeah, that's easier said than done, isn't it? Really? I wish they didn't rub our noses in it with that, because it makes it so clear how much we have to do. And I have to admit that being with Reba in the morning is very humbling to begin with. But then when you have to confront your own limitations, well, it moves it to a whole different level. So let's move on to our next topic while we contemplate that last gem for the rest of our lives. We need some more that we can talk about. So let's go back to time and specifically history, and even more specifically, our history. Why? Because there is none. We do not have a history. We do not have a past the way we do. And why is that? Because every instant when we are completely creating our world anew, we are also creating a new past and a new future that's in alignment with who we are at that instant. So we have no set past. We have a new past every instant that we live. And that past that we have is in alignment with who we are in this instant. Now, that puts us solidly at the point of power. If we, as Eckhart Tolle and so many others have spoken about, live in the present moment, that puts us at the point of power. And as we begin to enjoy our life from the present moment, that will change our past, and the past will literally change before your eyes and show up supporting you in your now. So let's take a specific instant from your past, something really bad. Now I ask you, would you do that again? No. In fact, an emphatic no. Well, then let it go. We get a clean slate every instant. Why carry that along with us? Let it go altogether, just drop it. Or if you cannot let it go, then instead look at it and at the good that you got from that incident. Because you changed as a person. You changed so much that you know now, you are determined that is not going to happen again in the future. That is not you, that is not who you are. So, let it go. Do this especially if every time you think of your past, this incident comes up, because as soon as we start to focus on on anything, including this bad incident, we start to recreate it to one degree or another. Just continuing with my favorite topic lately, time. First, I want to strongly recommend Deepak and Oprah's new meditation. It's fantastic. Reeve and I love it every day. The name of it is Making Every Moment Matter. And here are just a few of the meditations that they've done so far. These are the titles. Now right now, today, they're at day 14 of 21, and it's free if you go along with it. And it goes back 5 days, so they're actually on day 9 now. If you want to go in and check on it and see if you like it. So, the first title, Where Does Time Go? Next, The Biology of Time. Next, Recognizing and Healing Time Dysfunction. How to make time a healer. Old time habits and how to change them. The benefit of present moment awareness. No more time illusions. And lose your beliefs about time. Now, keep in mind that 1/4 to 1/3 of our mental capacity goes to support the illusion of time. So as we learn how to give this up, we'll learn how to be more and more present, because we get to let go of our stories. Now, these meditations are deep, because Oprah speaks, then Deepak speaks, and then they give you exercises to do. And the meditation itself is only 20 minutes, only 10 minutes of that meditation, 5 minutes Oprah speaks, 10 minutes Deepak speaks. But if you start doing the exercises, you can be there for an hour, maybe more, because they're pretty challenging. But they're really on point, and they make the material come alive. So somebody like me standing up here speaking about time, once in a while, it's hard to make a conversion from something that's been so deeply inculcated into us, into our culture, and give it up. But we can. You can train yourself. Now, you can create with time, or said another way, you can create time the way you want it. You can create time the way you want it. So, you have to get focused. So one of the things you have to do is ask yourself, what do I want? Know what you want and focus on that. And put what you want in your daily schedule. Be the observer and ask yourself, are you spending time doing what you want? Set a morning intention to do what you want. And at the end of the day, look what you spent your time on. Then consider the ways that you can do it better so that you would have more time for what you want. Know that even when you're not working on what you want, the universe is. So you're not in this alone. The question is not, how much time do I have? But how am I directing the energy, my energy, and the energy of all that is, to accomplish what I want? I recommend that you use the pace map process. Just take a piece of paper, draw a line on it, put the things on the left side that you're going to positively do the next day, nothing else. Put everything else on the right side and turn it over to all that is. And then when you look at that the next day, you will be astounded at how much all that is got. You might even want to compare it to how much you got done. Because you're going to get a lot done. And that's going to develop a sense of trust and a sense of momentum and a sense that you're not in this alone. We've got a lot of non-physical support. And when you do these things, you will notice in 5 minutes when you sit down at the end of the day, changes, at first subtle, and later, huge changes in your time, your day, and even your life. Now, when we started, Mary Lou mentioned the Anunnaki. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is aliens. Because it's so darn much fun. I mean, how much do we know about them? So, recently, Reba and I saw a movie called Arrival. And it's about aliens coming to the Earth, all over the Earth. And we all know that that's going to be an actuality soon. I don't know if it's going to be in 1 year or in 10 years, but it's coming, and it's going to be soon. So this information about time has been in Framework 2 for over 150 years, and it showed up again and again in books, science fiction books, and of course, more recently in movies, continuously. So it's sort of softening us up and getting us ready. And their rule of thumb is when they come, and what they're waiting for specifically is to cause as little upset as they can. Now, when the aliens arrived in the movie Arrival, they came and they brought a gift. And the gift was their language, which was built around no time. That's why they brought this, what they considered an incredibly precious gift, because their language was not bounded with time. In other words, they were bringing us a tool, which is just a perspective, to change our world in practical and dramatic ways in no time. And last, I wanted to share some information. I think it was quite fun. So, instead of watching TV, instead, go to YouTube, and in the search bar, put in Universe Inside You. Universe Inside You. It's a channel on YouTube. And you'll find a large number of videos going over alien races, over 50. And the videos are terrific. They're short, good for me. And what I love about it is the kind of support they provide from people like you and I. People that didn't have any belief in aliens. I certainly didn't until Reba popped the Intergalactic Council on me. Intergalactic Council? Are you joking me? I mean, I never heard of that. And then I invited 2 friends from church over for lunch, and they proceeded to immediately talk about the Intergalactic Council, never knowing what Reba told me, and I'm going, oh my God, what is this? Some kind of message? And the people that are talking are people that didn't have a belief in aliens, people that were skeptical, people like you and I, people that, you know, a housewife with 2 kids, and this huge spaceship comes over her house and tilts down, and she looks up and she sees these aliens called tall whites. They have white hair that comes down in a page boy style, and she saw them clearly, very clearly. She said she'll remember them as long as she lives. And they looked at her, they saw her as well. And then she got her kids and ran inside the house and hid under the table in the kitchen until her husband came home. And she got a lot of grief from the people in the community going, oh, you know, we didn't know if you were whack, but now it's out and we do know. And she said what so many of the people say, I don't care. It's what happened to me. I'm going to be honest about it, and that's that. Just common people. And one of the things that I noticed was, one of the interviews I listened to, and I did listen to a couple of them, was a guy that was a meteorologist. He was in a southwestern state in the early 50s. He'd been drafted into the Army for the Korean War. And they sent him to this base, and because he was a meteorologist, they gave him the highest clearance. I don't get the logic of it, but that's what he had, the highest clearance. And they told him, look, there's a base on the back of this base for aliens, and you have clearance to go there. And he said because he was drafted, he thought they were willing to sacrifice him versus enlisting. And he went back there, and they were more scared of him than he was of them, and he was plenty scared.
Oh my God.
And he knew a lot about these people because he spent 2 years with them. For instance, their average height is about 5 foot 10 or 11. They live 400 years. After 400 years, they then go through another growth, and they become between 8 and 10 feet tall. And they then live another 400 years. Now there's some real problems for them because their bone structure is not supported by their body structure, their muscles and things like that. So they have some problems with it. Also, because they live 10 times as long, he found that they needed 10 times as long to heal, for instance. So everything isn't honky-dory, you know, that you become something where you have no problems in your future. You do continue to have challenges. And it reminded me of that scene in Star Wars where they go into Han Solo and Luke Skywalker go into the bar, and all these bizarre, really bizarre people are there. And because I said to myself, 50? There's 50 different races? And they're saying that they're all going to be here by the end of the century. And I'm going, really? That's kind of interesting. Now, one problem we have is we tend to project. These are very advanced civilizations already in alignment with love. But look at the movies we see. They're having wars, they're having all these things that happen on our planet, but we're projecting it on them. So naturally, when they show up, we're going, well, then, you know, of course they watch our news, so can you imagine the courage it takes to come here after some of the things that have happened in our country? It's like John Lennon's friends going, you're not going to America, are you? Really? Everybody has a gun there, you know. But John came. And they came as well. And they're coming. Now, a number of them have already been here. And for a long time. You know, when the Canadian Minister of Defense put up a YouTube and said that back in the 60s, he went to a base in North Dakota and he met 4 different types of aliens. And the meteorologist, in talking about the base in the Southwest, was saying that they actually offered to negotiate with the United States because in each case, these aliens are associated with the military, probably for safety purposes. In other words, they don't want to get shot. So what they found was they had a conference, and Dwight Eisenhower flew out to the conference under the guise of getting dental surgery in Arizona. And they actually offered to give them very advanced technology if we would be willing to dismantle our nuclear capability, completely dismantle it. And Ike elected not to do that. Instead, he made, this is what they say, an agreement with the Greys, who didn't require us to dismantle that. In return, they would take DNA material from people in our country. And of course, how many times did we hear about people that were abducted by aliens and brought back, but nevertheless abducted, and they took DNA material. So I found it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed learning about other races that we may encounter. I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime, but I think it will. So I'll just take a second here to recap. We're heroes. All of us are heroes. And the people that aren't heroes, they were a saint before they took the bad role that they played in our life that was so upsetting. And this planet is a real challenge. We're rock stars for having the courage to come here. And on top of that, we've already worked with our committee to pick up other big challenges. So give yourself a lot of credit every day, because non-physical, the people that you know on the other side, are completely awestruck by our courage. Completely. Every day, every moment. And keep in mind that how it works, that we can choose now to create our own bridge with all that is. We can choose to take control of our will by taking control of our thoughts. We can choose what we're going to lend our imagination to. We can choose what we're going to lend our emotions to. We can decide to take a look at our beliefs. And the secret is to love everything, starting with yourself. That's a surefire, simple way to live your life that's going to make a dramatic impact on your life. And if you reach a point in your day when you're feeling really good and you feel like you need a little humility, just remember the only thing missing from any situation or relationship is what you're not giving it. And last, we can change time by the way we work with it from our perspective. If we start focusing on energy and not time itself, we age because we believe we age. But the real truth is this: we're getting better with every second. We're becoming more of who we are every second. So every second that we live, we're more prepared to take advantage of this, the wonders of this reality, than the second before. And last, have fun. Go learn about aliens. And that's the universe inside you.
Exactly.
On YouTube.
Wonderful, wonderful. We all love aliens. And you know the Bible is full of aliens. Talked about when they come down in Ezekiel. We'll go into some of that. Nancy, you have a question for
I
Miles?
want to tell you how opportune this subject is. Don Wad, who most of us know as we sit here, is in Las Vegas at an alien conference.
Yeah.
When he gets back, maybe he'll have some information on us.
Yeah.
I think of Don all the time.
So do I.
He's
Yeah.
adorable.
He is an alien, I think.
Yeah.
Have any of you ever watched David Wilcox's with Corey Good talking about there's a station on the backside of Mars and all that? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you Google O negative blood, which is the rarest blood type there is, it will say on there that they come from someplace else. So they walk among us. And I am O negative blood. I walk among you.
We're honored.
We really are honored. Wow.
I'm a short white.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a tall white. No, Sandy. You're a short white.
She's in her first 400.
Maybe it's the first 200.
Yeah.
She's awful.
I'm growing though. I'm growing.
Maybe preschool.
time you're talking, of course, because I come out of that and know that the Bible is really an offshoot of the Emerald Tablets, and it says we entertain angels unaware.
Yes.
What does that mean? People from other dimensions, aliens, and also it says we're always surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses that are always cheering us on. And the last one I was thinking about is it says in Revelation, when the seventh trumpet sounds, which is within us, it's not some, in religion we thought that the angels were out there, sounding the trumpets, blowing the trumpets, but it's a clear sounding word within us, there'll be time no longer.
Wow.
So, all of those precepts that you're talking about have been in all the ancient texts. We're just really starting to decode those texts and understand that this information has been out there for thousands of years. So, but I love the way you put it together. I get so much out of Miles. Anybody else have any other questions for him? Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just thinking, in the old New Beginnings, you were always afraid I was gonna talk about aliens.
I know.
Now everybody's talking about
I
it.
used to tell Dana, don't talk about Isis Pisces in here. They don't go for that.
Get out of that
That
box.
put his astrology cards up and they all were jumping one day. Anyway, we're all growing up and understanding. Anything else any questions or anything you didn't cover? I think you covered it all.
Miles, did you say that we're all old souls?
Everybody here.
Yeah.
Oh, just in here?
Yeah.
Because I
You're
know
in here, yeah.
a lot of souls that have never been here before, and their whole life is controlled by fear,
Yeah,
complete fear.
Yeah.
And I know they've never been here before.
yeah, exactly. But you can't get in this door without.
That's right.
You don't want to get in this door.
Nobody had a lot run out that door. We start talking.
The vibration is way too high. And in fact, we think that we're a communal group and we come here for a really special time every week, but on the other side, they're not interested in football. Really shocking. But this is like a spiritual Super Bowl. And I'm telling you, there are more people here, even today, than there are there February 3rd when they have the Super Bowl. Because they learn so much from us.
Right.
Because every one of us that comes here comes bearing breathtaking gifts. We all have breathtaking gifts.
And they're so concerned with how it's unfolding on this planet.
Very.
They're really concerned with how it's unfolding, so they're helping all of us. We really are. And like you said, the veil is gone. I think so many of us are seeing people and things and getting messages that maybe perhaps we haven't gotten before. And I love one of the things you said in one of your teachings, don't discount it. Be open to the changes, because we're not even going to recognize the world in a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love it.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Anybody else have anything they want to?
Ask.
Well, I tell you, when his classes start again and he'll be back to speak again, you have to come, because it really is life-changing. Everybody has a different way of putting it. I think the way Miles brings it in, it's just profound and easy. It's
Well,
profound yet easy.
Good.
So anyway.
Well, that's my goal. I appreciate that.
Yes. All right, we're going to have one more song, hopefully.